Okay, hopefully everybody can hear me. Good morning and afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. Thanks for your interest in the U.S. Department of Energy's efforts on renewable energy efficiency. You're joining us for the informational webinar for applicants and other interested parties for the Targeted Algal Biofuels and Bioproducts funding announcement, or FOA. The FOA was issued on September 22nd. My name is Daniel Fishman. I'm a technology manager with the Bioenergy Technologies Office within DOE's Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy, or EERE. And we hope to cover the basic aspects of the funding opportunity announcement during this webinar. Before we begin, I'd like to draw your attention to the email address on the left-hand side of this cover page. This is the official mailbox to direct all of your questions during the entire FOA process. Please do not contact EERE individuals directly with questions. This includes myself. All questions received at this mailbox are posted publicly at the Q&A section of the FOA page on EERE Exchange in an anonymous way. The official answers to your questions will typically also be posted within 3 business days. Please be careful not to submit any language that might be business sensitive, proprietary, or confidential. There won't be a live Q&A period at the end of this webinar. Please type in your questions as they come up, and they'll be answered in writing at the EERE Exchange site. To be clear, there's no particular advantages or disadvantages to the application evaluation process with respect to participating on the webinar today. Your participation is completely voluntary. Let's get started. This slide shows the anticipated schedule for the FOA. The FOA has been posted as of September 22nd. Whoops. And we are conducting the FOA informational webinar now. Please note that there are a few requirements that we will go over in the presentation that are different than in past FOAs, such as replies to reviewer comments. And we'll cover all these requirements later in this presentation. All applicants are strongly encouraged to carefully read the full funding opportunity, and this presentation summarizes the contents of the funding opportunity. If there's any inconsistencies between what's written in the funding opportunity document and this presentation, or statements that I make during this presentation, the FOA is the controlling document, and applicants should rely on the language written there. Please seek clarification from EERE using the tab FOA mailbox if you believe there's any inconsistencies. It's also worth noting that effective December 26, 2014, DOE financial assistance regulations contained in 10 CFR 600 will be superseded by the financial assistance regulations contained in 2 CFR 200, codified in Part 4 of 2 CFR, Part 9, sorry. Here's a brief agenda. We encourage you to have a copy of the FOA in front of you as we go through this. The FOA is an integral part of the algae program strategy. We're seeking alternative pathways to overcome 2 key barriers to commercializing algal biofuels. The tab FOA bench and process development scale, research and development, that focuses on developing technology to achieve higher overall values for the process biomass. This is referred to as topic area 1. And also increased biomass productivity that leads to higher yields by developing crop protection and or CO2 utilization strategies. This is topic area 2. It's anticipated that successful projects from the FOA will contribute to improving BETO's 2019 projected state of technology for the cost of algal biofuels from our current projections of $8 per gallon gasoline equivalent to less than $5 gallon gasoline equivalent. For the purposes of this FOA, bench scale refers to work conducted in a laboratory setting under controlled conditions. Cultivation volumes for bench scale experiments are expected to be on the order of 100 liters or less process development scale refers to work conducted in field settings with fluctuating light, temperature, and other stochastic features such as precipitation, wind, or contamination, with sufficient supporting infrastructure to allow for multi-day to multi-week cultivation campaigns. Process development scale cultivation volumes are expected to be on the order of 1,000 liters up to and beyond 10,000 liters per vessel. The FOA description continued under topic area 1, VETO seeking multidisciplinary consortia to pursue technology improvements that will lead to higher overall values for algae. This will be achieved by developing and improving yields of high-impact bioproducts and biofuels. For example, bioproducts could be specialty or commodity chemicals or polymers or proteins. Consortia are required for this topic because of the broad range of expertise and facilities needed to develop technologies from algae cultivars to finished biofuels and bioproducts. The critical component of this topic area is that bioproducts are expected to increase the overall value of the algal biomass and still allow for biofuel production. Under topic area 2, single investigator or small teams will pursue technology improvements that will result in increased biomass productivity, leading to higher overall feedstock yields. And this will be achieved by projects that focus on advancements in either crop protection or CO2 utilization. Crop protection refers to the fact that biological contamination presents one of the greatest challenges in cultivating robust, reliable algal cultures that meet target performance specifications. So novel, safe, and effective strategies are needed to be developed to control culture contamination events that result in diminished target feedstock yields. Additionally, integrated pest management systems need to be developed to control pathogens and herbivores. For carbon dioxide utilization, algae utilize a diversity of carbon concentrated mechanisms to maintain adequate carbon stores for photosynthesis, and obtaining adequate carbon is affected by the transfer of dissolved inorganic carbon into the cultivation system, levels of biologically available carbon, and sequestration of carbon by algae. Reservoirs could include atmospheric CO2, supplied CO2, and biologically available carbon in the cultivation system. Enhancing transfer efficiency could enhance productivity through ensuring adequate intracellular carbon stores, as well as lower operating costs through more efficient utilization of carbon sources. Target improvements may be measured through enhanced photosynthetic efficiency, increased carbon efficiency, and improved rates of transfer, either into carbon reservoirs or uptake by algae from the reservoir. Improvements must result in improved productivity that could lead to higher feedstock yields. Successful projects under this FOA will set targets that assume mature scale deployment of technologies for energy return on investment and greenhouse gas emissions. Extrapolated from bench and process development scale data, these targets should describe significantly positive energy return on investment and life cycle GHG emissions that meet or exceed renewable fuel standard requirements for advanced biofuels. Incorporation of these targets means that successful projects under this FOA for both topic areas must integrate techno-economic modeling and life cycle assessment into experimental plans. This will be captured to some extent in the required technical and financial data. After award, these data will be used to establish a baseline and targets. Project progress from baseline towards targets will be externally validated by a DOE-selected performer and used to inform mid-project go-no decision points. Specific application requirements for both topic area 1 and 2 are as follows. The required technical and financial data sheet, see technical and financial data sheet template, will be used to establish the project baseline, midpoint, and ultimate technical targets. Regular reporting requirements and progress from baseline towards targets will be incorporated into the awards, terms, and conditions. The baseline and progress from the baseline towards targets will be externally validated and used to inform mid-project go-no decision points. Biology and cultivation experimental plans must consider scaling explicitly in experimental design and objectives, as shown by, but not limited to, primary use of robust production organisms, diurnal cycles, solar strength irradiance, fluctuating temperatures for growth experiments, and outdoor culture performance verification. The use of robust production strains and explicit feedback between laboratory-based studies and field cultivation is required to meet the FOA objectives. If experimental plans rely on genetically modified organism technology, a discussion of the U.S. regulatory landscape and the impacts of regulations on the project objective, scope, and schedule are required. Establishment of methods for integrating techno-economic and life cycle analysis into experimental plans and definition of how these analyses will be used to inform deliverables to DOE, documenting progress towards the FOA objective of less than $5 GGE algal biofuel is required. Production of algal biomass will refer to the cultivation of both micro and macroalgae as well as cyanobacteria. Acceptable algae cultivation systems include open ponds, attached growth systems, and closed photobioreactors, combinations of these systems, or other systems with similarly justifiable scalable potential. Standardized analytical methods for measuring the key biochemical constituents are vital to developing reliable algal production performance data and must be addressed within the application. Construction and capital costs to build cultivation acreage or capacity are not allowed within this FOA. Application must propose to work on algal biomass. So proposing research activities on biofuels and bioproducts from lignocellulosic biomass is considered non-responsive. Applicants that receive awards through this FOA will, in coordination with the Bioenergy Technologies Office, issue press releases at award and at successful completion of the project to highlight the positive aspects of the work. And applicants that receive awards through this FOA will submit to DOE during the award and for 5 years after the award an annual report on the utilization and impact of the work in the project. This report's for DOE internal use only. Please also refer to Section 6B12 for specific administrative reporting requirements regarding subject inventions that are in no way diminished or replaced by this requirement. Specific to topic area 1, the consortia topic area, a successful TAB consortium must develop and characterize their proposed algal-derived biofuels and their proposed algal-derived bioproducts from their proposed algal biomass cultivation and processing system. It is anticipated that project's technical targets for this topic area will span the entire algal biofuel and bioproduct production system. Applicants should include a detailed discussion of the reasoning behind the proposed strategy or strategies and why the proposed technology pathways will have the highest probability of success. Sustainable practices, life cycle and economic analyses, and resource management should be addressed relative to the proposed pathways. No major construction activities can be undertaken as part of this topic area. The use of a consortium is expected to bring together both the human and physical capital necessary to achieve the objectives. Consortium structure should consist of a consortium lead organization with an associated director and other key personnel, and technical partners who will conduct the technical scope of work proposed and described by the consortium in collaboration with the lead organization. All participants must be clearly identified. The lead should be focused on coordination and management of the overall technical effort in addition to the strategy approach and outcomes. non-disclosure agreement signed by all partners is required as a part of the application. Please refer to section 4D14 and Appendix F for requirements and instructions about this NDA. After award, the consortium must develop and sign, or after selection, the consortium must develop and sign an intellectual property management plan within 30 days. Please see Appendix H for guidance regarding the IP management plan. In addition to these requirements, there's a number of technical characteristics that will be evaluated for technical merit for the consortium topic area. Number one, demonstration that consortium will have capability in photosynthetic algae strain development, mass culture of photosynthetic algae, recovery of target fuel and chemical precursors from mass cultures, conversion of precursors to valuable products, and integrative analysis to assess LCA and TEA constraints together with national impact potential. Definition of plant data technology and establishment of target improvements for biology, cultivation, processing, and conversion using the provided technical and financial data sheet template or the applicant's preferred format. After selection, these targets will be evaluated and then will be incorporated into award documents for use in mid-project go-no-go evaluation. Approaches to characterizing value will be at an appropriate scale to provide information necessary to compare algal product specification to the established product. The DE-FOA intent is to support applied R&D, not necessarily product certification. The intent of the DE-FOA is not for preparing pre-commercial or commercial quantities of material for sale. Continuing the requirements, establishment of target production amounts and delivery schedules of all targeted biofuel bioproducts, demonstration that delivery to downstream processing and conversion partners will be in timely support of consortium objectives, and a discussion of the envisioned split, assuming mature technology deployment between biofuels and bioproducts in terms of energy, mass, and value. Applicants should note that production of biofuels is directly related to BEDO's statutory authority and our strategic goals, which are defined in the multi-year program plan referenced in the FOA. And thus, this discussion will inform the evaluation conducted under the other selection factors as described in Section 5C1. Demonstration of understanding of target markets and market entry strategies, demonstration that the proposed technologies are currently at a minimum TRL of 3, and that the proposed consortium scope is adequate to advance the TRL of the proposed technologies to 5 or 6. And demonstration that the consortium objectives can be accomplished without major construction activities. Moving on to topic area 2, specific requirements. This topic is for single investigator or small team technology development projects focused on developing technologies for 1, crop protection, or 2, CO2 utilization. This is to increase biomass productivity in a manner that can lead to increased feedstock yields. Topic area 2 projects will focus on discrete aspects of the algal biofuel chain related to algae production at TRL 2 to 3 levels. And thus, successful projects will develop technologies that lead to higher yields of recoverable target biofuels and bioproducts, but will not necessarily develop finished fuels or products. Specific requirements that will be evaluated for technical merit for topic area 2 are, number 1, the identification as to whether the project is focused on crop protection or CO2 utilization. Number 2, definition of baseline stated technology and establishment of target improvements for improved productivity that leads to higher recoverable yields. Use the provided technical and financial data sheet template or your preferred format. After selection, these targets will be evaluated by an external review team and will be incorporated into award documents for use in mid-project go, no-go evaluations. Demonstration that the proposed technologies are currently at a minimum of TRL 2 and that the proposed project scope is adequate to advance the TRL of the proposed technologies to 3 or 4. Moving on to non-responsive applications. The following types of applications will be deemed non-responsive and will not be reviewed or considered for award. Applications that fall outside the technical parameters as specified in Section 1B, which we just covered. This includes, but is not limited to, applications for proposed technologies that are not based on sound scientific principles, applications that propose to develop technology that relies on purely heterotrophic algae cultivation, applications that propose mixotrophic algae cultivation strategies that utilize food-based sugars, applications that propose to develop technology for the artificial lighting-based cultivation of algae for energy products, applications that propose to work on biomass other than algae biomass, Topic Area 1 project applications that are not from a consortium, applications that propose construction of new facilities, and applications that propose modifications to existing facilities that exceed 20% of the total project cost. That includes cost share. Moving on to the award information, it's expected that the total amount to be awarded will be 13 to 25 million. This is based on appropriations for fiscal year 14 and fiscal year 15. Appropriations for fiscal year 15 have not been established by Congress yet, so that's why there's such a great range. The average award amount will be between 5 to 10 million in Topic Area 1 and 500K to 1 million in Topic Area 2. We've listed the type of funding agreements. We expect the period of performance is 36 to 48 months, so this is always subject to negotiation. And the cost share requirement is 20% of the total project cost as a minimum. EERE will have substantial involvement in the work performed under awards made in this FOA. This is important to note because we do not limit involvement to the administrative requirements of the award. Instead, EERE has substantial involvement in the direction and redirection of the technical aspects of the project as a whole. Substantial involvement includes, but is not limited to, the following. EERE shares responsibility with the recipient for the management, control, direction, and performance of the project. EERE may intervene in the conduct or performance of work under this award for programmatic reasons. Intervention includes the interruption or modification of the conduct or performance of project activities. EERE may redirect or discontinue funding the project based on the outcome of EERE's evaluation of the project at the go, no-go decision point and points. EERE participates in major project decision-making processes. Cost share requirements are that applicants must contribute a minimum of 20% of the total project costs for R&D projects. Cost share must be at least 20% of the total allowable costs for research and development projects. This includes costs associated with federally funded research and development centers, if applicable. And these must come from non-federal sources unless otherwise allowed by law. Cost share contributions must be specified in the project budget, verifiable by the prime recipient's records, and necessary and reasonable for proper and efficient accomplishment of the project. Every cost share contribution must be reviewed and approved in advance by the contracting officer and incorporated into the project budget before the expenditures are incurred. Allowable cost share. Please refer to the following federal cost principles listed here. 2 CFR Part 220, 2 CFR Part 225, 2 CFR Part 230, and Federal Acquisition Regulations Part 31 based on your entity's status. Allowable cost share continues. Cash contributions may be provided by the prime recipient, subrecipients, or a third party, and in-kind contributions can include, but are not limited to, personnel costs, indirect costs, facilities and administrative costs, rental value of buildings or equipment, and the value of a service, other resource, or third party in-kind contribution. On allowable cost share, prime recipient may not use the following sources to meet its cost share obligations, including but not limited to revenues or royalties from the prospective operation of an activity beyond the project period, proceeds from the prospective sale of an asset of an activity or federal funding or property, expenditures reimbursed under a separate federal technology office, independent research and development funds, the same cash or in-kind contributions from more than one project or program. Recipients must provide documentation of the cost share contribution incrementally over the life of the award. The cumulative cost share percentage provided on each invoice must reflect at a minimum the cost sharing percentage negotiated. In limited circumstances and where it is in the government's interest, the EERE contracting officer may approve a request by the prime recipient to meet its cost share requirements on a less frequent basis, such as monthly or quarterly. The timeline of the FOA is displayed here. Concept paper due date is on October 30th, 2014. EERE will review concept papers and disseminate encourage, discourage notifications by November 14th. Full application due date is December 15th, 2014. The evaluation and selection period will go through February 2015, and we anticipate notification of selection and non-selection by April of 2015. We anticipate making awards by June of 2015. Changes to this schedule will be would result in, how would we do that? Yeah, if any changes to this FOA, to this selection happen, a FOA modification will be issued and you'll be notified. Concept papers. Applicants must submit a concept paper. Each concept paper must be limited to a single concept or technology. And the concept papers must be submitted by October 30th at 5 p.m. Eastern. This is important to note for people not in the Eastern time zone. From experience, don't try to submit something at 5 p.m. Eastern. Do it well in advance. The concept paper review will take place as listed. The EERE will evaluate the concept paper based on the following two criteria: the impact of proposed technology relative to the state of the art. This is 2% of the score. And this criterion involves consideration of the method used to identify the current state-of-the-art technology, and if the technical success is achieved, the proposed idea would significantly improve technical and economic performance relative to the state-of-the-art. Criterion 2, the overall scientific and technical merit, also 50%, involves evaluation of the proposed technology's unique and innovative, as well as if the proposed approach is without major technical flaws. EERE will provide applicants with either an encouraged or discouraged notification and the reviewer comments. Please note that regardless of the date the applicants receive the encouraged, discouraged notifications, the submission deadline for the full application remains the date stated on the FOA cover page. It's not written on this slide, but it is in the FOA. The encouraged, discouraged notification is not binding, but the concept paper submission is. Full applications include a number of submission requirements. They're listed here. And in more detail in the FOA, you must submit a technical volume, an SF-424, an SF-424A, summary for public release, a summary slide, and all the administrative documents listed. For example, the U.S. manufacturing plan, FFRDC authorization if applicable, disclosure of lobbying activities, etc. Go through each of these requirements in detail. The technical volume content is described in the FOA, and we suggest that you dedicate 10% of the technical volume to the project overview, 25% to the technical description, innovation, and impact, 50% to the work plan, and 15% to the qualifications and resources. Technical volume is limited to 25 pages, as stated in the FOA. To be eligible, applicants must submit a full application by 12/15/2014 at 5 p.m. Eastern, and full applications are eligible for review if the applicant is an eligible entity, the applicant submitted an eligible concept paper, chair requirement is satisfied, the full application is compliant with Section 3C of the FOA, proposed project is responsive to the FOA Section 3D, and the full application meets any other eligibility requirements listed in the FOA. Eligible to apply for the FOA: individuals, domestic entities, foreign entities, incorporated consortia, and unincorporated consortia. For more detail about each eligible applicant, please see Section 3A of the FOA. Nonprofit organizations that engage in lobbying activities after December 31st, 1995 are not eligible. Please note that all prime recipients receiving funding under this FOA must be incorporated or otherwise formed under the laws of a state or territory of the United States. If a foreign entity applies for funding as a prime recipient, it must designate in the full application a subsidiary or affiliate incorporated or otherwise formed under the laws of the state or territory of the United States to be the prime recipient. The full application must state the nature of the corporate relationship between the foreign entity and the domestic subsidiary or affiliate. Multiple applications. Applicants may submit more than one application to this FOA, provided that each application describes a unique, scientifically distinct project. The merit review and selection process for full applications consists of multiple phases that include an initial eligibility review and a thorough technical review. Rigorous technical reviews are conducted by reviewers that are experts in the subject matter of the FOA. Ultimately, the selection official considers the recommendations of the reviewers, along with the considerations such as program policy factors, to make the selection decisions. The technical merit review criteria, these are standard EERE review criteria that you may have seen in other FOAs. Sorry about that. There are 3 criteria: technical merit, innovation, and impact. Technical merit and innovation is 50% of the project score and includes technical merit and innovation, the impact of the technology advancement. Criterion 2, project research visualization plans for 30%, includes research approach and work plan, as well as identification of technical risks. It also includes the baseline metrics and deliverables, the market transformation plan. Criterion 3, 20% of the score, includes the team and resources. An important feature of the merit review process is that the applicant will be given the opportunity to reply to reviewer comments. This is not required. It is optional. To be considered by EERE, a reply must be submitted by February 20, 2015, at 5 p.m. Eastern, through EERE Exchange. Content and form of the requirements for the reply to reviewer comments are 2 pages text and 1 page optional, accompanying graphs, charts, or other data. This is a customer-centric process that provides applicants with a unique opportunity to correct misunderstandings and misinterpretations and to provide additional data that might influence the selection process in their favor. Replies are considered by the reviewers and the selection official. As I referenced earlier, there are other selection factors that the select official may consider. These are the program policy factors, as well as the amount of funds available for this FOA. Program policy factors are as stated here and in the FOA. So the selection official may consider in his or her decisions the degree to which the proposed project, including proposed cost share, optimizes the use of available EERE funding to achieve programmatic objectives, the level of industry involvement and demonstrated ability to commercialize energy or related technologies, technical, market, organizational, and environmental risks associated with the project, whether the proposed project is likely to lead to increased employment and manufacturing in the United States, whether the proposed project will accelerate transformational technological advances in areas the industry by itself is not likely to undertake because of technical and financial uncertainty, and the degree to which the proposed project directly addresses EERE's statutory mission and strategic goals. The registration requirements for this FOA: applicants must register with and submit application materials through EERE Exchange. You must receive a control number at least 24 hours before the first submission deadline. Although it's not required to submit an application, the following registration must be completed to receive an award under this law, and that's a DUNS number, a SAM number, registration Fed Connect, and grants.gov. Means of submission: content papers, full applications, replies to reviewer comments must be submitted through EERE Exchange. EERE will not review or consider applications submitted through other means. There's a user guide available here. Key points for submission: check all entries in EERE Exchange. Submissions can be deemed ineligible due to an incorrect entry. We strongly encourage applicants to submit 1 to 2 days prior to the deadline to allow for full upload of application documents and to avoid any potential technical glitches with EERE Exchange. Ensure you hit the submit button. Any changes made after you hit submit will unsubmit your application, and you will need to hit the submit button again. For your records, print out the EERE Exchange confirmation page at each step, which contains your control number. Applicants must designate primary and backup points of contact in EERE Exchange with whom EERE will communicate to conduct award negotiations. It's important that you're responsive during award negotiations. If you have any questions about the FOA, email tabfoa@ee.doe.gov. All Q&As related to the FOA will be posted on EERE Exchange. So you must select this specific FOA number in order to view the Q&As. And we will attempt to run to a question within 3 business days, unless a similar Q&A has already been posted on the website. If you're having trouble using EERE Exchange, the Exchange support mailbox listed here, the phone name and number. All questions asked using the chat function of the GoToMeeting webinar during this presentation will be posted on EERE Exchange. That concludes the TABS FOA informational webinar. So thank you for your time and attention, and look forward to any questions that you may have.